Ambassador Zethkar of the Galactic Confederation watched the display screens with growing disbelief. The numbers didn't lie, but they defied every expectation the Council had held for the past 3 centuries. The Crucible test had been designed as the ultimate measure of a species' worthiness to join the advanced civilizations of the galaxy. Every member species had undergone the trial upon first contact, and every single one had failed spectacularly. The Zephyrians, with their crystalline intellects, had lasted merely 4 hours. The mighty Krogan Empire, masters of 1,000 worlds, had surrendered after 2 days. Even the technologically superior Nexari had withdrawn their candidates after losing 3 volunteers to the test's unforgiving parameters. But these humans, these supposedly primitive Deathworlders from the third rock orbiting an unremarkable yellow star, had been inside the Crucible for 6 standard days. And according to the biomonitors, they were laughing. "This cannot be accurate," muttered Council Member Vexthal, her tentacles writhing with agitation. "No species has ever survived beyond 72 hours in the Crucible. The environmental stressors alone should have." "The readings are correct," interrupted Dr. Elon, the facility's chief researcher. His normally composed demeanor had cracked somewhere around hour 96. The humans designated as Marcus Chin, Sarah Thompson, and David Okafor remain in excellent health despite exposure to Class 9 radiation storms, gravitational fluctuations exceeding 15 g-forces, atmospheric pressure variations that would crush most beings, and temperatures ranging from absolute zero to plasma-forming levels. Zethkar leaned forward, studying the feeds from inside the Crucible. The 3 humans moved through the hellish landscape with an ease that bordered on the supernatural. Where other species had required environmental suits that ultimately failed, the humans wore simple clothing that somehow adapted to each challenge. Where others had succumbed to despair or madness, these 3 creatures seemed to be treating the ordeal as an adventure. "Look at this," Dr. Elon highlighted a section of video. When the Crucible activated its seismic instability protocol designed to simulate the worst planetary disasters, the humans didn't seek shelter. They started a game. The Council members watched in stunned silence as the 3 humans began using the floating debris as stepping stones, laughing as they leaped between chunks of rock while the ground below shifted and churned. Marcus Chin had actually started singing something he called a work song, while Sarah Thompson documented the geological phenomena with what appeared to be genuine scientific excitement. "Impossible," whispered Vexthal. The Crucible was designed based on the most extreme conditions found across 1,200 worlds. It represents the theoretical limit of survivability. "Perhaps," said Zethkar slowly, "we have been approaching this incorrectly. Show me the data from their homeworld." The display shifted to show Earth, a blue-green marble that had initially seemed so benign. But as the detailed analysis unfolded, the Council members began to understand their fundamental error. Magnetic field fluctuations, Dr. Elon read from the data stream. Tectonic activity on a scale that would classify as catastrophic on most worlds. Weather systems that regularly generate winds exceeding the structural limits of our architecture. Atmospheric composition that would be toxic to 60% of known species. And the life forms. The catalog of Earth's fauna scrolled past, creatures that could survive in the vacuum of space, others that thrived in boiling water or freezing ice, predators that could outrun their vehicles, and parasites that could adapt to any environment. Every category of life seemed designed for warfare against existence itself. "They're not taking the test," Zethkar realized, his voice filled with something approaching awe. "They're having a vacation." The truth hit the Council like a physical blow. These humans hadn't just survived the Crucible, they had found it relaxing compared to their everyday existence. The test that had broken the spirits of every other species was, to them, merely a mild inconvenience. As if summoned by their conversation, David Okafor's voice crackled through the communication system. "Hey, are you folks going to turn up the difficulty soon? Sarah's getting bored, and Marcus found a way to use the gravity wells to cook lunch. We brought cards if you want to make this a longer challenge." The silence in the observation room stretched for long moments. Finally, Zethkar activated the communication array. "Humans," he said carefully, "you have passed the Crucible test. Welcome to the Galactic Confederation." The response came back immediately, filled with disappointed groans. "Ah, that's it? We were just getting warmed up." As the council members began the unprecedented task of revising their entire understanding of survival, none of them noticed the small notation in the margin of Earth's file. Inhabitants refer to their homeworld as mostly harmless. They would learn in time that human modesty was perhaps the most terrifying trait of all.